4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
So, of course, the Giants lose another one, fall to the Lions in overtime. Just, it's just good old Groundhog's Day. Same thing. It's almost like, what's going to happen next week? How the Giants going to blow the game next week? Right? Or either one or two things going to happen. Either, the Giants are playing a very good, very well-coached team. Right? Mike Vrabel, very well-coached team. And a very good team. So we're either going to, get outclassed and lose by, whatever, a couple scores, or it seems like we're going to keep it close and maybe wind up having a lead going into the fourth quarter and somehow losing that one. Right. Oh, my God. Where are we at here? Yeah. Now, obviously, it certainly was not all bad yesterday. There was a lot of really good things. Good old Mr. Jameson Winston. I'm glad we got him. He's once again proven that he can play. I mean, when Gunner hit him for that pass and he broke that, Jameson broke that tackle and got into the end zone, and he finger rolled it in the end. I mean, I hope they sign him for a couple years. I hope they, maybe extend him for another year or so, whatever, because he's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But I mean, it's just a shame. Yeah, we wound up. I think what was it? Was it 511? Total yards 517. I'm sorry. But, of course, the Lions had 494 yards. We had 25 first downs. Once again, this is a backup quarterback. Our number one running back isn't in there. Our number one wide receiver is not in there. We had 517 yards of offense. 395 yards passing. Now, the one thing I did like now, it wasn't very pretty all the time with the running game, but they were running, and we ran the ball 39 times, though, which is, once again, we only had 122 yards on 39 carries. So we only averaged 3.1 yards a carry, but we were able to, because a lot of it was we were up too. We were able to dictate what we wanted to do. And being able to keep running the ball was fantastic. One of the problems is that the Lions averaged 11.9 yards per carry. They averaged almost 12 yards a carry. 12 yards a carry. They ran the ball 20 times for 237 yards. Just unbelievable. Our problems in the red zone, once again, we were 1 for 3. Let's see. 7 penalties, 59 yards. We only had the 1 turnover. We had the ball for 37 minutes. Without question, there certainly was some very good stuff. Very good stuff that went on, Wandale Robinson. Of course, he's in a contract here, and he's going to get paid. In the absence of Malik Neighbors, he stepped into the leading role and is on pace for more than 1,100 yards. It feels like a lifetime ago that Robinson was being lambasted for his lack of size and yards per reception, but he's now averaging a career-high 12 yards per catch and has morphed into one of the NFL's most productive receivers, number 9 to be exact. Now, of course, last year he had all of those receptions. He had no yards. He wasn't even, I don't even think he even averaged 7 yards a catch. Now he's averaging 12 yards a catch. Now, let's not forget, right? Now we got Kafka calling the plays. The offense looks different, and the production is there. Last year we were averaging about 15 or 16 points per game. Now we're up to like about 22 points. We've jumped up almost a touchdown a game without our number one running back, without our number one wide receiver, and without our number one quarterback. And we're averaging 6 more points per game. That's very impressive. Oh, yeah. Good old Eric Gray. I have no idea why. No idea why. Unless it's because he's a draft pick, and they're like, we need to get some production out of this draft pick. Can't make it look too bad, right? We got to get some production out of this draft pick. Well, Eric Gray returned to the field on Sunday and brought his kick return issues back with him. Gray muffed the kickoff and left the Giants' offense pinned deep in enemy territory. Something has become a theme of Gray's pre-injury. While the Giants continue to use him as a return man, when he's proven time and time again that he's incapable of it, is baffling. Special teams coordinator Michael Goebel must answer for that later this week. Yep. Good old Jameson Winston. The interception stung, but that's part of who Winston is. Something the NFL world got in spades on Sunday. The veteran quarterback started in place of Jackson Dart, completed 18 of 36 passes, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, and one interception. He also rushed for 13 yards and a career first, holding a 33-yard reception off the arm of Connor Olszewski in what he stiff-armed the Lions defender to the ground and rumbled into the end zone. Jamie Gillen. What in the world has happened to the punter Jamie Gillen? Over the past month, it feels like he's fallen off a cliff. After struggling on kickoffs, he has been replaced by kicker Young-Ho Koo and relegated back to punt-only duty. The issue, he's struggling in that area too. Shanks have become all too common. And that theme continued again on Sunday with 2 bad punts, one slightly aided by a nice roll. All right, what we got here? Some winners and losers here. Kudos to Mike Kafka, who can argue some more about going for it on 4th down. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Kafka has watched the Giants' defensive play all year. He knew full well there was 0 chance the defense was holding a 3-point lead. Well, they might have held on to a 6-point lead, though. Anyway, Wando Robinson had 9 catches for 156 yards. Good old Winston. Pass blocking. Winston threw the ball 36 times. For next-gen stats, 21 of those were 10 yards or more down the field. The Giants were going vertical, yet Winston had plenty of time to throw. The only Detroit sack of the game came on the final play, which ended the game. In desperation, 4th and 5. He was hit only 7 times. The line did a fantastic job blocking. To be honest, as the game wore on, it did an increasingly good job creating space for Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary to run as well. It was the same kind of thing as that, early on, the run game, they were doing it, but it was kind of like, we're going to get any yards, but the 1 or 2 yards became 3 or 4 yards. Obviously, the more you're able to do it, the bigger those holes get. Young-Ho Koo, Giants field goal kicker, made both of his field goal attempts, including a 44-yarder that might be a pedestrian distance in today's NFL, but was his longest in 3 games with the Giants. He also made a touchdown-saving tackle on a 44-yard return by Detroit's Khalif Raymond in the second quarter. Darius Alexander, 3rd-round pick, most productive day as an NFL player with a pair of sacks. Tyrone Tracy, the second-year running back, had his best overall game of the season, 130 total yards of offense. Tracy ran the ball 20 times for just 62 yards, but he fought for all those yards and protected the football while doing it, which is very important. He also caught 3 passes for 77 yards, including a 39-yard catch and run on a blown coverage by the Lions. Once again, the Giants' opening drive offense. Giants scored an opening drive touchdown for the 6th time this season. This one on the Winston to Robinson flea flicker. They could only finish as well as they can obviously start. Yep. Good old Theo Johnson, second-year tight end who has suffered from drops and inconsistency throughout the early part of his career, is increasingly becoming a force. He had just 3 catches on Sunday, but they went for 77 yards, and all came in the second half as the Giants' offense tried to hang on to its narrow lead. One of those 2 incompletions to Johnson also resulted in a defensive pass interference penalty that gave the Giants a first down. Isaiah Hodgins, 2 games, 2 touchdowns with the Giants. The veteran receiver continued making an impact in his second game since returning to the Giants. He had a gorgeous leaping 12-yard touchdown catch in the second quarter and a 30-yard catch on a 3rd and 10 from the Giants' 8-yard line while they were trying to hold on to a 3-point lead with roughly 8 minutes to play. Of course, then you got, the bad things. Eric Gray, right? Jamie Gillen, fourth quarter overtime defenses. Yeah, the Russian defense. Oh, my goodness. For the 3rd time this season, the Giants defense allowed an opponent to rush for more than 200 yards. They've only held an opponent under 100 yards rushing twice all season. Jahmyr Gibbs by himself had 219 rushing yards, including a 49-yarder for a touchdown in the fourth quarter and a 69-yarder for the game-winning score. So basically he had, 70? Basically on 2 running plays, he had 120 yards rushing. And two. It's a consistent problem for the Giants. Gibbs was untouched on a 69-yard run up the middle in overtime. On his early 49-yard TD run, Gibbs got through the Giants' defensive line without being touched. Then Dane Belton took a poor angle as Gibbs burst through the line. It was easily shed by Gibbs. Then Cordell Flott couldn't play off his block and lay a hand on Gibbs. And then the bigger Javon Holland couldn't play off his block and was barely able to touch Gibbs on his way to the end zone. Jameson Winston, sign him to a long-term contract. If the Giants can't win, at least are we not? We're certainly entertained, that is for sure. There are a few quarterbacks more fun to watch than Jameson Winston. All indications are that he is a great teammate. More importantly, though, the man can play. Yes, he throws interceptions, and he threw one today, but the guy can move on offense. He makes all that he can do. He can make all the throws. He can read defenses. Yep. He can competes like crazy. He's a leader, and he will do anything to win. Sign the guy. Give the dude another couple years, man. Keep him happy. Keep him here in New York. Keep him happy. The dude seems nothing but simply an amazing person, human being, teammate. Sign the guy. Keep him here. Keep him and Dart here for a few more years together. That'd be fantastic. And maybe draft a quarterback in the draft and try to develop them, right? But, I think between Dart and Winston, really, really good. Winston threw for 366 yards against this Lions defenses. That was the 3rd best in the NFL in passing yards allowed coming into the game. 3rd best in the game. We don't have our number 1 running back is not there. And our number 1 wide receiver, one of the best, maybe top 5, 6, whatever, wide receivers in the entire league, was not on the field for the Giants. And we threw for 3. And Winston threw for 366 yards against the Lions defense that was 3rd best in the NFL in passing yards allowed. And between what Winston threw for on Gunnar Olszewski's completion, we had almost 400 yards of passing against the 3rd best. And we don't have a number 1 wide receiver. Theo Johnson and Darius Alexander are becoming threats. There's been some frustrations about Theo Johnson's drop passes since becoming a Giant. But Johnson's 4 drops were tied for 5th among tight ends, which doesn't sound great for your tight end number 1. It's worth noting, though, that among the 4 who who had more drops were Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, and rookie sensation Tyler Warren. So maybe we're being a little bit hard. Well, those guys also get more passes thrown their way, too. In support of that sentiment, Johnson has 5 touchdown receptions. We're also tied for 5th most in the NFL with George Kittle and Mark Andrews. Johnson has caught 13 balls and 17 targets for 188 yards in the last 3 games. He may finally be starting to mature into the player the Giants thought he could be. Another player who got it noticed for the right reasons on Sunday was rookie Darius Alexander. His run defense hasn't been up to par, but his pass rush is starting to come around. Alexander had 2 sacks Sunday to give him 2.5 on the season. Coming into the game, only 2 other rookies inside defensive linemen had as many as 3 sacks. Alexander came out of the MAC conference and thus didn't play against the toughest competition. It's probably a significant adjustment from going up against NFL offensive linemen. It's possible, though, that the Giants have something. Possible. We'll certainly have to wait and see. But Darius Alexander, he's certainly going to have to upgrade his run defense. His run defense is not very good. His run defense is a 28.3, according to PFF. So he has some issues. Okay, his pass rush is a 60, according to PFF. Yeah, but his overall defense is a 40.4. So Darius Alexander has some room to grow. That's for darn sure. They said on the season, according to PFF, Darius Alexander is graded out of the 40. And I said his run defense is a 28.3. Not very good. He's got some learning to do. That's one of the things is that if Sexy Dexy's not on the field, you got Darius Alexander in there, who's, I said once again, according to PFF, is grading out at a 28 on run defense. That's one of the things is that obviously is when you get these guys, like in the second, maybe not taking the right angles or not getting a hand on the guys and stuff. The running backs that run through scot-free. Well, a lot of that has to do with also the front 7. It's kind of tough to take a good angle on a guy who gets the ball, who doesn't get touched, and was gone. Basically, within 2 seconds, he's 15, 20 yards down the field. It's kind of tough to, usually what you want is the guy get the ball, and then, if you're in a defensive secondary, you're doing whatever you're doing, and then, it's a run. Okay, let me start coming up and maybe, coming up to maybe make a tackle or get in a good angle or a good spot to maybe make it or whatever. But when a guy just gets the ball and he's not touched and he just takes off through the line of scrimmage without being touched, without being slowed down at all, it's kind of tough to get a good angle on him. All of a sudden you turn around, the ball snapped before you know it, the guy's 15, 20 yards past the line of scrimmage. It's like, what? Don't we have anybody on deep? So, you can kind of blame the secondary a little bit, to a certain degree. Guys aren't taking right out, but you need the guy to get slowed up a little bit, have him, get up to the line and maybe take a step or something, and, break a couple arm tackles or something, and then let him get going. But I mean, when he gets the ball and it's like there's like Moses parting the Red Sea and he just takes off and nobody touches him, it's kind of tough to get good angles of pursuit on the guy.